Welcome to the podcast, which is all about the world of direct response, and these days, mainly QVC. Are we on the air? I'm your host, Sean Wilsey, and for over 34 years, I've hosted shows on cable shopping networks, and now I want to be your guide into this world as we look at the ever-changing nature of this industry, and mainly QVC. Everybody's been asking me, well, where's the next episode? Where's the next episode? And listen, I gotta be honest. I'm really tired of talking about QVC, but it's what's in the news and it's what's there. I had all kinds of things planned for this season to discuss, and QVC has kind of taken over things with their bankruptcy. And I want to just start by pointing out a couple things, because someone took me to task on YouTube, and maybe rightfully so. In the comments section, I got to be honest, I don't look at those that often. So if you post something there, I may or may not even ever see it. But a valid point was brought up because I've been trying to keep things positive. And this individual said he's not talking about the potential effect on employees and layoffs and all of that. And you're absolutely right, because I have been trying to keep this upbeat. And I do believe that QVC, I've been saying all along, will emerge from bankruptcy. And it does look like they're going to, and I'll get to that in just a second here. But that's my main reason. And let's face it, there are a lot of people affected by a bankruptcy. For instance, it was recently publicized, and again, believe me, I'm not making any excuses at all, but the bankruptcy court revealed the top unsecured claims, meaning, because again, vendors want to get paid, and who is owed what? ProCaps Laboratories, one of their biggest suppliers, is owed $10 million. I mean, these are huge sums we're talking about. In fact, the total of the 30 largest unsecured claims is $93 million. Mainly vendors. C&J Clark, $6 million. John Hardy, $5 million. New Age Electronics, $4 million. United Parcel Service, $3 million. Beekman, the GOAT guys, they're owed $3 million. Desert Rose Trading, $3 million. EcoFlow, $3 million. Waco Shoe, $3 million. First Commemorative Mint, $2.7 million. Chaz Dean and Wen, $2.7 million. And it goes on and on and on like this. I mean, there's millions of dollars that vendors are owed. And so we also have to think of, their employees, because this is affecting their bottom line. So everyone's affected by a bankruptcy. So yes, I'm concerned for the employees. Believe me, I have friends there, as you all know, at both QVC and HSN. So I'm very concerned for them. But the vendors also deserve to be paid. However, many of the shareholders are not liking the way that this bankruptcy is going down. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, though. I want to back up just a second because I'm going to play some audio here from CBS, Philadelphia, I'm assuming, about what the latest and maybe the biggest thing going on with this bankruptcy is. And of course, I'm probably have to sit through a commercial here first because it reset itself. Because two firms, here's what's happening while I wait for this. Two firms are looking to assume the nearly $3 billion in debt in exchange for stakes in QVC Group. And after this story plays, I'll kind of explain in a little bit more detail here what that means. The Firestone commercial is over. And the audio isn't working. What is going on here? Hang on a second. I see. Let me back this up. Here we go.
Coming up on 546, two firms have taken on billions of dollars worth of QVC's debt. Bloomberg is reporting that the firms assumed nearly $3 billion of the debt in exchange for a stake in QVC post-bankruptcy. The Westchester-based company filed for bankruptcy last week. They're trying to find a way to get out from under more than $6 billion of debt.
And it does sound like they are going to emerge from bankruptcy fairly soon, fairly quickly, as we kind of thought might happen. The companies are Silver Point Capital and Strategic Value Partners, which are both based out of Connecticut. So here's what happens. They buy a good amount of the debt. It will leave QVC, I think, with $1 billion in debt, which is manageable for them. I know, $1 billion in debt, and it's manageable. Whatever. And then in return, those two companies will hold sizable stakes in QVC Group. Again, QVC Group is the parent company of QVC and HSN. The debt will be converted into equity along with $2 billion in QVC notes, mainly owned by Silver Point and New York firms Oak Tree Capital Management and Golden Tree Asset Management, as part of the company's plan to emerge from Chapter 11. So what does that mean? It means QVC continues. They live on, as I predicted they would. However, there's always the however. It will have to be a leaner operation. In fact, I read somewhere they want to be leaner and meaner, I think was the verbiage that was used, as they indeed pivot towards social media. I didn't realize until recently that TikTok sales has been a thing in China for 20 years. And streaming on TikTok and selling products. That's a very long time. Why are we so late to the party? I think because, again, as Americans, many times we're stubborn and we think, we can do it ourselves. QVC tried that with Soon, which I thought was a valiant effort. The app where it was like TikTok and you scrolled and you saw people selling things, but that they have shut down. They tried it with all this. Enough with trying to be Netflix. If you haven't opened the QVC Plus app, which is available on Apple TV and all these things, open it. And again, I'm speaking now as a shareholder, just to see all the wasted money, time, and energy that has gone into let's become Netflix. We mentioned on this show, why do I talk plural? We, it's me. On this show about a year ago, they had hired someone who used to be at Amazon Prime to help with this. When you put your content on your app, you're providing content for your customer base, which is already diminishing. It's not like you're putting content on TikTok that reaches out to the rest of the world. So I'm sorry. I said it years ago, enough with the Coco movie and putting money into that. Enough with the streaming and the talk shows and all of this. It's resources, it's money, and hey, the argument would be made, hey, it's not that expensive. Great, it's still money, which you probably could be using to pay for someone, and trust me, we're getting around to that. Some of you know where I'm about to go, and it's a waste of resources. So it's just stick to the TikTok, stick to your broadcast, because again, there's still a decent, I shouldn't say decent, that's not the right way to put it, they're still a television shopping network, and they still have customers that they're speaking to. And so hopefully when they come out of bankruptcy as a leaner and meaner machine, that they can find the balance between we're still going to do TV, but yet we need to start reaching out to people on TikTok. You're still not going to get the customer reach on TikTok that you get on television. Like, I've logged into their TikToks before, and they have hundreds of people watching. There are thousands of people watching on television. Now, albeit, TV is a much more expensive way to do business. So that's why, inevitably, they have to get towards the TikTok operation and the online, the streaming operations in general. In April 2025, it launched a 24/7 live stream on TikTok, which we've discussed before, and QVC is credited for an influx of over 1 million new customers and a 19% increase in sales. So it does look good. If they can keep this growth and grow TikTok ahead of anybody else, because they seem to have hit the ground running with TikTok. I've been giving them credit this whole time for what they're doing with TikTok. Others are trying to catch up now, and so what they're doing there, the new owners might come in and decide that that is the future, but realizing that their bread and butter is, for the time being, still the television aspect of things. So I think it could be interesting. Now, these two companies that have taken this big stake, just real quick, I know people are wondering who they are and who is behind all of this, because they're companies based out of Connecticut, and I'm going to be honest, I was not familiar with until this whole thing broke, and all of a sudden you started hearing the news about them. The first one, Silver Point Capital, Connecticut-based, they're an investment firm that specializes in global credit investing, including hedge fund and private credit strategies, and it's best known as a multi-strategy credit manager focused on lending, distressed, and special situation investments. So this is right up their wheel well. This is exactly what they're known for. They've been around since 2002, founded by former Goldman Sachs partners, and so it's grown to several hundred employees and manages on the order of tens of billions of dollars of investable assets. So they're the real deal. This is not the 5-hour energy guy coming in and buying up a shopping network as happened with Shop HQ. Strategic Value Partners is a global alternative investment firm based in Connecticut, focuses on opportunistic credit, distressed investing, and special situations, private equity, mainly in North America and Europe, many times referred to as SVP Global. They were also founded in 2001. And the gentleman who founded it is still the firm's chief investment officer. So they manage roughly $21 to $22 billion in assets under management, and they've invested over $50 billion of capital since inception. So these two companies are the real deal. Again, they'll probably get seats on the board of directors, maybe have a say in the management down the road. But time will tell what's going to happen. Now, speaking of money, and speaking of management, and this is where, as a shareholder of a lot of worthless stock, this is where I get a little livid. Because it was recently announced, in fact, on May the 9th, that I'm just going to read this. According to a recent SEC amendment to the company's annual report. So again, they had their annual report. That's been filed. Now they have an amendment to that. So this is something they don't want known because it wasn't in the big filing. CEO David Rawlinson, and I've spoken about him fairly bluntly, as has Marvin Siegel, the son of QVC founder Joe Siegel, on several occasions. Anyway, he forfeited $19.5 million in stock awards. Okay, what does that mean? Well, in exchange for a performance-based bonus structure to keep him on board through the bankruptcy process. So the man that is, I don't want to say is responsible for their bankruptcy, but any other company, you are, pardon my French, shit canned. The board has gotten rid of you if you're in bankruptcy and it's going this badly. But anyway, they're going to keep him on board through the bankruptcy process. And he's a 3-year contract to stay on through 2027. Now, the 2025 compensation package for Mr. Rawlinson totaled nearly $10.87 million, which is more than 70% higher than his $6.3 million in 2024 and more than double his 2023 earnings. This is where, as a shareholder, pardon my French, I get pissed off. His restructured pay revolves around a $1.75 million base salary, $2.25 million retention bonus, and $15.75 million special bonus split between retention and performance components. Boy, it's good to be the man in charge, isn't it? This rivals, I don't even know how many people are aware of this. When Shop HQ became Evine, the gentleman who took it over at the time, people asked me at the time, what does Evine mean? I had no idea what Evine meant. Well, for a very brief period of time, this gentleman brought in Kathy Levin, who I adore, has been on this show, first season, go back and listen to the episode, and take the L off her name, it's Evine, because she became a spokesperson. She wasn't an on-air host, but she became a spokesperson briefly for the network. So this gentleman already owned the name Evine. He owned the rights to that. So his first thing coming in as CEO that he does is he sells the name Evine for $1 million or whatever it was. So that to me was always the most underhanded, sneaky CEO television shopping historic thing, although there's competitors for that. This takes the cake, though. You know your company's heading towards bankruptcy. You know this will have to be disclosed eventually, and they tried to cover it up. And your compensation. Listen, if there's layoffs, God help you. Your name will be mud. But and again, I hope there's not, but it's almost inevitable that there are going to be some form of layoffs through this whole thing. It's you can't continue to operate as you were. If they do, then these are the dumbest individuals that ever took hold of a company ever, because you can't continue to operate as you were. It will have to be leaner. I've said a million times, you know where I'm going. You could do QVC out of a garage. This morning I was just dawned on me, this is going to sound like such a housewife thing. I was folding clothes and watching Rick Domeyer on QVC, and they're celebrating their 40th anniversary. It's kind of cool seeing the old sign in the background. They had one of their big prize wheels on the set. And it was kind of fun looking at this. But as I was really watching it, and Marvin brought this up on a previous show, they really do look like, they ignore the set, because it's kind of fun for the 40th anniversary, like TV shopping did 40 years ago. The camera shots are the same. It's the same two-shot. It's the same one-shot. And this is where I always talk about the evolution and how there's a German shopping network that is pretty much one big wall, like the Today Show, which is one big video screen, and you change it for what you're doing. The camera shots. Go online, watch video of the Today Show from even as recently as like 1999, and see how just stable all the camera shots are. Now they're on the move. Cameras are moving all over the place. They're handheld. They're on jibs, which is a technical thing. It makes it a lot more interesting. I have started, after maybe 15 years of never watching The Price is Right. Now I watch The Price is Right every night, because visually it's so interesting. It's still the same old games. It's the clock game. It's high-low. But visually the show is so much more modern. And none of the shopping networks have been able, in the United States, to stay with the times. I always make the game show analogy. Family Feud, that's been around for almost 50 years now. Go online, watch it from the 70s, from the 80s. Very different. Today, visually a lot more interesting, but it's the same game. So if you're going to stay on TV, it visually has to be more interesting. Let's face it, with the short attention spans that the generation growing up has, they're not going to sit through very long, tired, old shots. You can't just stay on the same shot of two people for a minute. Click, they're going to leave you. You have to visually make it so much more interesting. And that's just TV in general. To keep up has to evolve like that, because you're dealing with much shorter attention spans, which, again, going back QVC, they know it. Their future is on TikTok. And my only concern with that is, we almost lost TikTok about a year, 2 years ago, whatever it was. So what happens when TikTok goes away? Because look at where, what was the one? Vine. Vine was so hot for a while. Now that's gone. I mean, there's a long list of apps that have come and gone. Maybe TikTok will someday be the Vine that we look back on. So who knows where it's going to go. But it is very interesting times, and I'm sick of talking about QVC. You know what? Let me just do this, because I had to open up my Apple Music for the QVC music I just played. Do I have any other QVC sound bites? What else do I have? I honestly, I don't know. This just is labeled Holly and the Hot Chocolate. What is this? Whoops. Oh, this might be the promo,
What's it
maybe.
about this hot chocolate that makes it so special?
No cup is truly enjoyed unless it's served in the presence.
Are we on the... Oh, that was the intro to one of my shows. Okay, that's what that was.
For customer satisfaction, just check out the QVC 3-point guarantee. Number one, QVC makes no substitutions. What you order is what you get. Number two, your order will be shipped promptly. Normal delivery is just 5 to 10 days. And if you're not completely satisfied with any QVC purchase, you can return it within 30 days for a complete refund.
TV shopping was still new. They're explaining the basics, and that was part of Mr. Siegel's founding, was those very things, and that's what they live by. I think this is an opening from '87. John Eastman's voice,
QVC,
one of the first hosts.
Quality cable shopping channel. Stay tuned for an outstanding selection of products that you can use every day to enhance the quality of your life. QVC presents What's New to Make Your Life Easier.
And the fake applause. And maybe that's something to think about going back to. Enough with the hour of Sketchers. Go back to the variety shows where it was just you never knew what you were going to see. And what's this? Oh, I forgot I had this sounder. That's the word game music. When they would put up the scrambled word and someone had to unscramble the word. I think Marvin said the first scrambled word they ever put up was cat. So you had to unscramble the word. So when that sound was up, the person on the phone had to make a guess. And there again, goes back to the interactivity of this. When I was watching this morning, I actually heard Rick take a phone call for the first time in I don't know how long. And that was part of the fun of the live show. Hey, maybe I'll go on the air and maybe I'll get a chance to play the word game. Or they'll spin the wheel when my lucky number will come up. And this is something Marvin talked about on a past show where they had the guy who created the $64,000 question on the board of directors because he knew game shows and he knew the game element of it. So, I don't know. Times change, but and like I said, evolve the look of the show, but there's still things we could learn from the past that work. Now, I don't want to go out with QVC music again. We're going to go back to our good old-fashioned, there we go. Old-fashioned 70s game show music. That was actually, I don't know if I explained this in a while. That was a theme to a 70s game show. Blinked and you missed it, called The Hollywood Connection. And then it was my theme for a long time on Shop NBC. So that's where that music comes from. Anyway, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a show. Plus, you can listen to the archive of past shows. I do hope you'll check me out on X, Facebook, and YouTube at Sean Wilsie, my full name, ShawnWilsie. And then on Instagram, just under S. Wilsie. Thank you for downloading this edition of our We on the Air.
Yes, I know, Travis. That's why we give such bargains.
Copyright 2026, King Bobby Productions, all rights reserved.